Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a new Zapdos card. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Zapdos. You see, we've had a lot of lightning love lately, and that's not running out anytime soon. And there's a whole bunch of cards from Dark Order that have been revealed and a whole bunch that we need to get to. But one of the ones that makes me the most excited here is Zapdos. This Zapdos looks like fun. Now, starting off with a bit of the old basics here. It's got 110 HP. 110 HP means it will be one-hit KO'd by Zoroark, and it will be one-hit KO'd by Golisopod, which is a little bit of a shame. But then again, you're talking a basic Pokemon. You know, it's right there with something like Tapu Koko. So it's not exactly like it's some kind of horrific, embarrassing, how dare you come out of the house like that kind of HP. But it's not particularly high. Retreat cost of 2 does bum me out here. We're going to see when we get to the attack. It's not ideal, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a fan of the retreat cost of 2. It means you can't use escape board to get it in and out the active nice and easily. I mean, look, we've still got stuff like Guzma. We've still got stuff like Ace Roller. So it's not exactly the end of the world. But the retreat cost here does make me sad. What does not make me sad is a resistance to fighting, because it means that a Boswell GX is going to need to knuckle impact to get a KO. And it means something like a Boswell non-GX, the Baby Buzz Haynick, it's just not KOing it here. It's just not getting a KO. Sledgehammer, if you've got 4 prizes remaining, they do 120. Oh, no, wait, because of resistance. They only do 100. You're not KO'd. So actually, the 110 in that context is brilliant. And okay, with a Diancie Prism Star they can, but you're saying they get a KO if they've got a Diancie Prism Star at the exact time that you've got 4 prize cards remaining. No. I'm not buying that. And then as for swing around, I mean, in order for them to get a one-hit KO, they have got to hit double heads to get up to 120, and then play a Diancie Prism Star. I just don't think that's particularly viable. So against stuff like that, you're absolutely golden. As for the weakness to lightning, I mean, look, there's a bunch of good lightning stuff coming out. That's a bit of a pain. But otherwise, yeah, it's not the worst weakness. Although, to be honest, it is getting worse and worse as we go here. And whenever I talk about weakness, I do mention stuff like Ho-Oh. What I don't generally tend to mention, which I probably should, to be perfectly honest with you, is Shining Lugia, which is weak to lightning. Of course, this is all the moot points because you're not hitting for weakness here. Boo! Etc. So, there's one attack here. What does it do? Well, according to the lovely David Hochmann, it does 10 damage, but if this Pokemon was on your bench and became active during this turn, it does 80. 1 energy, 80 damage. There's no way around that, ladies and gentlemen. That's just phenomenal. And I keep coming back to this idea over and over again, but basically you're talking single energy, basic Pokemon. That is a recipe for awesomeness and success. Single energy, basic Pokemon is really what you're looking for here. It means you can easily search it out with something like a Nest Ball, which is seeing a lot more play post-rotation. It means that it's easier to get out, it's easier to get onto the field. It's just plain better, to be perfectly honest with you. And as for the single energy, that's just great. And it means that this is a viable turn 1 option. Turn 1 here can be great for Zapdos. Your opponent goes first, and then on your first turn of the game, you are in theory hitting for 80 damage. Now, you've got to get into the active, and this is where a skateboard comes in. A skateboard is awesome with this, or you just need to be playing free retreaters. So if you're playing something like a Tapu Koko, you can just retreat into a Zapdos. If you're playing anything with 1 retreat, and bearing in mind most decks are playing Tapu Lele, which has 1 retreat, you add a skateboard onto there, and then you can retreat nice and easily into said Zapdos. So that's really, really cool here. And then you're doing 80 damage for a single energy. Now, you're not hitting for weakness and resistance. That is super, 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 super important. It sucks, and it's a pain, and I don't like it, but that's the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. You're not hitting weakness and resistance here. Obviously, I would like it if you were. Obviously, it would be a significantly better card if you were. But you're not. You are still affected by resistance, which isn't particularly relevant, but you're not hitting for weakness. If you were hitting for weakness, it would be a little bit over the top. It means it would get a straight one-hit KO on something like Shining Lugia. It means you could add a Choice Band on there and get a one-hit KO on a Ho-Oh. It would be a little bit dumb if you could. But there's still pre-evolutions here, and that's where you're making money with Zapdos. You see, if you're up against a Zoroark deck, you're probably going to have at least one turn where you can go after Zorua, and you'll be getting a nice, easy one-hit KO. Let's say you're against something like a Vikavolt deck. Vikavolt decks really rely on getting Vikavolt out. So they really need to try and make sure that their Grubbin survives the first turn. So if you can get a turn 1 Guzma, and again, you've got to draw cards and get the Guzma and all of that, it's not always that easy to play a Guzma turn 1, because you might need to play a draw supporter like Cynthia. But if you can get a Guzma turn 1, you can take out their only Grubbin for a single energy on a Zapdos. I adore this. This is just meant for taking out pre-evolutions. And it's not necessarily just basics. If you're up against a Gardevoir deck, yeah, fine, you can go and get yourself a 60 HP Rouse, but when they evolve up into a Curlier here, that Curlier is going to have 80 HP. You're going to be taking it down. Fine, you're not taking out giant Pokemon, but you are taking out pre-evolutions here. And you're taking out one a turn for a single energy. And then, of course, you don't need to be hitting for weakness that much. Let's say you're against a Boswell GX, you hit for 80, and then another 80, you're up to 160. If you play one Choice Band on either of those hits, that's actually 190, you're getting a 2-hit KO. Except if Boswell's using Jet Punch, they're doing naff all. So you'll be absolutely fine. You're basically 2-hit KOing the vast majority of GXs here. And you're doing it for a single energy on a basic Pokemon. And of course, we need to remember that Lightning's got all these tricks at the moment. We've got Thunder Mountain, which actually means that Zapdos gets to attack for free. And I've bemoaned the retreat cost here, but of course, you could be playing Zeraora. And Zeraora gives free retreat to any Pokemon that have a Lightning energy attached. Of course, being a single energy attacker, you can use Zapdos with Rainbow Energy, but even then it would work with Zeraora. But if you're not playing a Lightning deck, you're unlikely to be playing Zeraora. But it is absolutely an option here that Zeraora gives you free retreat. And let's not forget Tapu Koko Prism Star, whereby it's got the ability you pop it on the bench, and then you can pop it in the Lost Zone and attach one energy to each of 2 benched Pokemon, like for instance your Zapdos. 80 damage for a single basic energy on a basic Pokemon, and even though the retreat cost sucks, because of Zeraora you can hit for 80 then retreat. And if you've got 2 Zapdos here, you can just use Zeraora to just free retreat over and over and over again. Or you could use something like Guzma to be able to switch. Or you could use Ace Roller to heal up. It's a single energy Pokemon, that makes a lot of sense. And then keep going. Many of you have probably noticed this is very, 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 very similar to Golisopod's attack. That's 30 if you didn't become active, 120 if you did, rather than 10 if you didn't, 80 if you did. But it's basically the same kind of thing here. Now Golisopod hits for weakness, but in a lot of decks you're not. This 2-hit KO's pretty much anything, because even your kind of Prism Star Pokemon like Solgaleo only have 160. With a Choice Band, you're basically 2-hit KOing GXs, and it's for a single energy on a basic Pokemon, and if you've got 2 of these and a Zeraora on the bench, you can just flick between them all day long. And that's before we start talking about Electro Power, a card that's come up in a few videos lately, whereby your Lightning Pokemon do an extra 30 damage this turn. Because you might not be using weakness here, but you can be using Electro Power. So then it's 110 if you became active this turn, or 140 if you became active this turn. 2 Electro Power and a Choice Band, you're doing 170. That's a one-hit KO on a Tapu Lele. And let's not forget that the previous video we did was on Electric Charger, which lets you flip 2 coins, and for each heads you put an Electro Power back into your deck. And let's not forget you're a non-GX, so you can use Shrine of Punishment here to put 1 damage counter on each EX and GX between turns. Although remember that if you're using Zero Aura to free retreat, that is going to put the damage on your Zero Aura. I adore Zapdos here. Great damage, basic Pokemon, single energy, 2-hit KO, basically anything. Use Electro Power. It's really, really good. And I think that in a whole bunch of Lightning decks, it's going to see a lot of play. I'm giving it 4 Wassies. I think it's a really good card. But maybe you disagree with me. Great news. There's a comment section. Tell me in the comment section whether you agree or not. Go nuts, ladies and gentlemen. But do remember to be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do check out my other channel, Wassie Plays. We're covering the Transformers TCG in a lot of detail at the moment. That game's fun, you should check it out. And yes, I've done a how to play video. But by far the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.